Have you ever heard a whisper on the sea breeze? A story of a love so deep it could drown the sun? This isn't your childhood fairy tale. This is the story of Lyra, a mermaid whose voice could weave the very currents of the ocean, and Adrian, a lighthouse keeper whose heart was as steadfast as the rock his beacon stood upon. Lyra was a daughter of the deep, her scales shimmering like 1,000 captured sunsets. She swam the abyssal plains and coral gardens, her world a symphony of blue and green. But she was drawn to the surface, to the strange, flickering star that pierced the night from the shore. That star was Adrian's lighthouse, a solitary sentinel against the stormy might of the sea. Adrian was a man of the land, but his soul belonged to the ocean. He'd inherited the lighthouse from his father and his father before him. He knew every mood of the sea, from its gentle summer sighs to its winter fury. One evening, during a violent squall, a colossal wave crashed against his tower, and he was thrown against the rocks below, his world fading to black. He awoke not on the jagged shore, but in a hidden sea cave, the air thick with the scent of salt and something else. Something ancient and magical. A soft, melodic hum filled the space, and he saw her, Lyra. Her silver hair was strewn with pearls, her eyes the color of the deepest ocean trenches. She had found him, broken and unconscious, and dragged him from the sea's deadly embrace. Using forgotten ocean magic, she healed him. For days that turned into weeks, they lived in that secret grotto. Adrian unable to return to his lighthouse, and Lyra unwilling to let him go. He told her of the sun, of forests and meadows, of the warmth of a hearth fire. She described the silent, weightless world beneath the waves, the coral castles, and the leviathans that slumbered in the dark. Their two worlds, once separated by the impassable barrier of sea and shore, merged in that cave. They spoke a language of shared glances and gentle touches. Adrian would trace the patterns on her shimmering tail, and she would run her fingers through his hair, coarse with salt. It was a love that should have been impossible, a fragile bridge between two realms. He taught her human songs on an old flute he'd salvaged, and her voice, once used to command the tides, learned to carry melodies of the land. The pull of their respective worlds, however, was a current too strong to resist. Adrian's light had gone out, and ships were at risk. His duty called to him, a responsibility etched into his very being. Lyra, a creature of the sea, began to weaken in the air of the cave. Her vibrant scales started to dull, her breath growing shallow. She needed the deep, crushing pressure of her home to survive. They knew they couldn't stay. Their love, born in a twilight world between land and sea, was a beautiful, fleeting miracle. The tragedy was not that they couldn't be together. It was that they had to choose. To love him meant she would fade away. To love her meant he would abandon his world and likely perish in hers. One moonless night, with tears that tasted like the ocean itself, Lyra helped Adrian back to the shore. She was weaker now, her movements slow. He stood on the sand, his heart a hollow ache in his chest. "I will light the lamp for you every night," he vowed, his voice thick with unshed grief. "So you can see it from the deep. A star just for you." Lyra smiled, a heartbreakingly beautiful expression on her pale face. "And I will sing to the currents," she whispered, her voice barely a breath of sea foam. "So the waves will always carry you safely home." She slipped back into the dark water, a flicker of silver, and then she was gone. Adrian climbed the winding stairs of his lighthouse, his legs heavy as lead. He lit the great lamp, its beam cutting a powerful, lonely swath across the black ocean. He had his world back, but his heart remained in that sea cave with the mermaid who had saved him. For the rest of his days, Adrian kept the light burning. Sailors would often speak of the lighthouse keeper who never came ashore, a man whose gaze was always fixed on the horizon. And sometimes on the quietest nights, they swore they could hear a song rising from the depths, a melody of profound love and infinite sorrow carried on the waves. It was the song of a love that defied nature, a love that chose not to destroy but to remember. A love story written on the tides, forever echoing between the lighthouse and the deep. Thank you for listening to this story with me. If tales of love, loss, and magic resonate with you, make sure to subscribe and join our community. We have many more stories to share. See you next time.